Okay, guys, what is up? To the fighting game community, I do tier lists, and we're doing one today, but my tier list opinions have been mocked before. So don't be shocked if you're appalled by what you see. Um, it won't be that bad. It won't be that bad. I don't think this is terrible. There's not gonna be too many hot takes, I hope. But yeah, we're doing fighting game archetypes. And if you also just watch the tier list for tier lists, you have no idea what I'm gonna be talking about. Um, I hope I can roughly explain it while we're going through. I won't spend too much time. If you know, you probably clicked on this video. If you don't know, I'm not a fighting game expert. Like not really. It depends. It's relative, right? But I wouldn't call myself the end all be all. Definitely not even close. So you can go watch some other videos to get even more information to understand what I'm talking about. But I will try my best to explain it roughly. Something that I'm looking at, because I do like this tier list a lot. There's some things that are missing. One in particular that I don't see here, but I really like this tier list. For the most part, I think it's got all of most of the archetypes that I care about mentioning. Most of the memorable ones, or like the notable ones. So that's good at least. I noticed like Rekka's missing. I think I'll talk about Rekka. I can't think of many others, but these should be good. And also in terms of the tiers, before we start, I have no idea, to be honest. I think I'm gonna keep it S A B C D. I think that's fine. I kind of make it up as I go, as in like what I'm phrasing the tier as, but not where everything's going. Like when I'm putting things above each other, I start realizing kind of what the idea is. But generally, the way we're going to be doing this, though, to give you an idea, because I'm not going to be able to do it with the tier making here, we're going to be doing from playing perspective, you playing the archetype, and then also from playing against. So we're going to do it's going to be together. It's going to be both together, which might be weird with certain characters. And not characters, but like archetypes. Certain archetypes definitely aren't like a big deal playing as, but playing against, completely different story. But actually, good example of, I think, where those two things might not be intertwined with each other are probably the first two here. So let's start with, I put the first three most notable ones at the beginning, so at least we can go through there. I guess Allrounder could also, I'll put this like over here because it's kind of boring to explain. The more interesting ones I put towards the back. All right, let's start. So the first, I think, arguably one of the more controversial ones is Grappler. Roughly, just to explain it, you grab them and do lots of damage. That's kind of the idea. The close quarters, they're not always big. They don't have to be big, but they grab. Usually have a command grab, which is a better grab. I'm trying to oversimplify this as much as I can, but yeah, close quarters, lots of grabbing, lots of moves that can help grabs, and lots of grabs that are stronger than regular grabs. That's a grappler. To simplify it, why is it controversial? Well, because some people love grapplers, and I don't think that's actually many, but I also think it's a loud, not minority, but it may not be as many people that don't like grapplers as it may seem sometimes. Usually grapplers don't get a good rap. If there's a grappler that is doing really well in the game, the public's perception is that the game's not fun. But I actually really like grapplers. I think they're fun to play as. I think playing against, the problem is I play with my friends more than I do competitively in most fighting games, if not all of them. So I don't really have, I guess, like when you're playing with friends, it's a bit, you can laugh at it, but I guess if you're playing competitively, it does trigger you harder when you get hit with that, you know, that command grab from, like, you know, two steps away where you normally shouldn't have been grabbed from there. So I'm going to put it higher than I think most people would. I don't know if I'll keep it at A for now. I'll keep it at A. Yeah, because this is most fun. I think this is the most fun. It doesn't need to be the best. Yeah. Another controversial one is zoners. So zoners are gonna be projectile air quotes typically, just people that keep you far away. They're the exact opposites. They keep you really far away. That can be with really long weapons, but typically it's with a lot of fireballs, and they're very good at it. And they have fireballs at different speeds, just ways to keep you pretty far away. I'm not gonna lie, fighting against a zoner is probably one of my least favorite experiences in fighting games. I hate it. I hate it. I respect a grappler. Zoner what makes me want to strangle the guy that's playing it. So pretty low. And I think playing against zoners, a lot of zoners, I don't know, fireball inputs and whether they be charge or dragon punch, it's just I don't know. It's kind of I think it's trickier than it seems when you think about it. Not tricky. That's maybe giving it too much credit, but I don't think it's super fun. I don't find it very fun. So I'm actually going to put zoners at D. I think they're necessary. It's necessary to have zoners, but I don't like them. So I'm going to put them down there. Rushdown. I'm going to put an S. I'm guilty. I think most people like Rushdown characters, which these are probably actually easier to explain. They're really good at just getting in your face, and not in a grappler way. They just do a lot of stuff. They just get in your face. They're really quick, fast. Their moves are usually good at just getting in there and making contact, basically. So fast little guys. You can think of Wolverine as the silhouette there, or you can think of like Cammy from Street Fighter. Lots of different options there. I'm not going to give an example for every single one, but I mean, grapplers is obvious, like Zangief, or your zoners. You can think of Dragon Ball characters. I mean, they got Axel from Guilty Gear here, but lots of different options. All-rounders are pretty boring, all in all, but they're a little bit of everything. They got they're your Ryu, I guess, kind of. Yes. You got your fireball. You got your good at grabbing. Your throws are good. Your throws are decent. Like you can get in there if you need. It's just a bit of everything. Not particularly great at anything, but like decent at everything. So an ace of spades, not an ace of spades, a jack of all trades. There you go. Ace of spades is the exact opposite. But yeah, jack of all trades. That's essentially what it is. I find them safe. I find them pretty safe. So I guess I put it higher than zoner. If you're playing them, I think playing against them is a bit frustrating because playing against them isn't. It's playing against an all-rounder is like you're looking more for how your opponent is playing more than you ever would understanding the character. You know what I mean? Like when you fight a Ryu, you're not really looking for, oh, what's the matchup here? You know what I mean? The matchup is dependent on you. It's dependent on the character you're playing, unless you're playing Ryu, in which case it's just who's better. So that's why I find it a bit. That's not always the case, but generally, by definition, that is how it works. All-rounders are not something you look for in terms of the weakness within the character. It's the weakness within the opponent, which I find a little more extraneous. Like it's a bit more frustrating but maybe some people like that, but that's not me. I like kind of being like, I like having a weakness in my opponent's character because then I can see how they react to it as well, and they make up for it. It's just a cool psychological battle. Where all-rounders may be fun if you're like a truist, what is the term? A purist. Yeah, there you go. Not truist. I was like, that's not the word I'm looking for. I don't even think that's a real thing. A purist. Like if you're a fighting game purist, you love all-rounders, but playing against them is a B. Playing as them is a B. Playing against them, I got to bring it down to a C. Big bodies. Big bodies are fun, dude. Big bodies are fun. I love big bodies. I think even if you play, I think Potemkin and have I played Hugo? I'm trying to remember. I played Street Fighter 4 years and years and years ago. Like 10 years ago. So I can't remember if I tried Hugo a lot, but big bodies are just fun. They're just fun. Are they good? I don't know. Sometimes it's like they're really good. Sometimes they're usually they're okay. They're not great most of the time. Typically they're roped in with a lot of grapplers if you think about it. But I mean, from a visual perspective, you would think. But they're usually just a lot of there's a lot of hitting. There's just a lot of hitting. I mean, they're big. They're literally big bodied. I think they kind of just fit the aesthetic of what you. Everyone likes having the big guy, basically the big guy in a fighting game. I don't think anyone's gonna complain about big bodies. I don't think there's much to complain about. It's just cool aesthetically. Composite. Okay, composite's kind of weird. I guess like it's not weird. It's just I don't think if you've never played a fighting game, it'd be weird to explain composite. But it's I guess like it's like kind of the example I always think of is Kirby, but I don't think Kirby's technically a composite character. The realistic example I would give is like Seth, but I don't think many people have played like normies can remember what Seth is like from Street Fighter 4 and 5. So I'm going to say it's like Kirby. Basically, it's a character that has the exact moves of more than one character. Kind of. Yes, I think that's a proper explanation. Um, I don't think there's much purpose. I love Kirby. I think mostly the thing that makes composite characters interesting is lore. It's story. It's the reason they're a composite character. Not really like androids. Androids, like Cell. Cell could be a composite character, maybe. I don't know. I haven't played a lot of fighters, so I actually don't know what his moveset is. But Cell technically, but lore reason I could see him being. I don't actually know how he plays. I probably shouldn't have said that. But I'm gonna put it really low. Honestly, composite because of like I guess like because of how fun it can be, like in theory, I'll put it up here in C, but like generally, I don't care for them. I think it's kind of disappointing because when I think about it, every character, especially with certain fighting games, they don't have a lot of characters, you know? And the fact that you have a character that is not just another character, but a bunch of other characters, because fighting games sometimes has repeats, like you have Ryu and you have Ken. They don't play the exact same, but they're kind of the same character, you know what I mean? Composite character is like another excuse for fighting games to just have more duplicates, which I'm not a fan of. So that's why I want to put it in D, but because of lore, it can be kind of interesting. Counter characters. Counter based. I don't know how else to explain it. I was thinking about this. I don't know if she counts, but she also doesn't have her. I don't think. Yeah, she doesn't. Did she? She had her counter. So basically, I was thinking about Baiken, and I was like, "Is Baiken a counter character?" Because I saw this like at glance, and I was like, "Do I remember this?" I was like, "Can I remember any counter characters?" And my brain immediately went to, "Oh, remember when Baiken had it?" I don't think she is one. And counter is like a bit more. You gotta commit more. The character has to be very like, it's kind of centered within their thing. Um, They're honestly, I haven't played a lot, so I wouldn't know. I think because of how dependent it is, there's somewhere here. I don't think they can be A tier, to be honest. I'm gonna put them in B because I don't really have much of an opinion. I don't think they're bad. I don't think they're boring. I think counter characters can be cool. They can be hype. Counter characters can be pretty hype and cool. So I'll put it in B. I think it's a safe spot. Footsies. First character I definitely think of is Chun-Li. But Footsies is both a term and also an archetype, I guess. Mostly it's a term, but I know I'm over explaining this stuff, but generally, this is just in case, right? I just gotta throw it out there. But and then it's also helpful if you guys already know, and then you can understand what you can hear what I think the definition is, even if you have a better, more accurate definition. But footsies, it's playing your normals, but like playing the game of like not specifically normals, but like distance. It's trying to punish. Like it's sort of like the boxing mentality within fighting games. It's okay. You're waiting for your opponent to sweep, and they usually have longer reach than other characters when it comes to their normal. So they're Their mediums might be longer. That's where Chun-Li is helpful. They may have more options, you know, to play around. It's really hard to explain. I'm just realizing how hard it is to explain footsie characters without trying to go through the whole idea of how do I explain footsies. I like footsies character. You know what? I'm just gonna leave the footsie one. Go look it up. I can't do it in this video. It would take too long. Footsies. I actually really like footsies characters. I respect them because I think it's what Allrounder wants to be. But this is like this is commitment. I think this is more commitment. So I'm gonna actually put it in S tier. I really actually, you know what? But I don't like to play him as much because I have to look at it from my perspective as playing them. I do like playing them, but not as much as Rushdown. I'll put it above Big Body though. But I think they oh well. But I like having big bodies in games. But playing them, I would rather play a footsie character. Yeah, yeah. I really like footsie's characters. I think they're great. They feel they feel good. They feel good whether you're fighting them or you are playing as them. It's cool to see a footsie's character like be played well, I guess, if that makes sense, because you respect it. Gimmick characters. These ones are kind of fun. Gimmick characters they just break the rules. So they have their own rules. They have their own thing that no other characters usually. It kind of messes with how the game normally works. Gimmick characters are great. Sort of want to put them up here. Yeah, I'll put them up there. Yeah, I'll put them here. I think I might have too many S tiers. Or maybe not. Actually, I'm looking at the other ones. Probably not. Yeah. But gimmick characters, I'm going to put them in S tier. They make the game exciting. I know a lot of people don't like gimmick characters sometimes because they can feel cheap to some people or like annoying. I don't know what excuses people come up with. But like it makes the game exciting. As long as it's sort of balanced, then it's no duh. It's got to be balanced. But I'd say gimmick characters are pretty good. Glass cannons. Like the name suggests, glass cannon is not strictly a fighting game term, but it is self-explanatory. It's something that hits really, really hard, but cannot take a hit for shit. So glass cannons, I actually think A tier is the perfect spot for it, for me anyways, because glass cannons are either really bad or really broken. And Akuma, he was the first notable glass cannon in fighting games. The guy hits like a truck, but he takes a lot of damage. But he's also very broken. So I can't put them in S tier in good faith, but I like him more than a counter character, and I think B is kind of like indifferent. A is, I like this character. So I like glass cannons. Joke characters are fun. I'm not really sure what this tier list definition of a joke character would be because they have Ace Attorney here. I'm guessing this is from Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which is fun. I'm guessing maybe Deadpool could also be a joke character, but I'm not too sure. Probably not because he plays like a normal character. It's just his aesthetic. Yeah, I'm gonna say joke characters are fun. It's a bit loose though, so it could potentially be here depending on who you consider a joke character. I think this is the most controversial one for me as to where I would put it, because it's not mid. It's definitely either here or here. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but it's depending on which ones. But I'm going to put it here. Puppet characters. I don't like playing as puppet characters. They feel very complicated, and they kind of make the game playing against them very hard. But I do think they are needed, so I have to give them credit where credit's due. I think they're definitely better than a Composite or Allrounder, because at least they make the game interesting. Like gameplay wise, they make the game interesting, which I'm always down for more interesting gameplay. So I'm going to put the puppet character here. I know people really like, actually, I think this is the funny part where I might get a lot of like confrontation here. People love puppet characters. Okay, maybe that's a strong way of putting it. People that play puppet characters love puppet characters. People that don't play puppet characters are kind of like, generally. A good example is Zato from Guilty Gear. I don't know many other examples, but they're usually like in anime games. There's a few in anime fighters. But yeah, puppet characters, they're great. They're just not me. Like I could definitely see people putting them up here. I'm gonna put them there. Set play. Set play is they have to set things up, and they play really well when they set things up. There we go. So set play characters, I'm gonna put them up here. I like them a lot. Not S tier for sure. I would think I honestly I think set play characters are my puppet characters. They make the game a bit more confusing for people, but it's my kind of confusing. You know what I mean? It's like I got a plan here instead of puppets feel it's just having two actual active things going on that kind of makes it a bit unnecessarily complicated for me. But that's just me. Maybe I'm old. I don't know, but I'm not. Anyways, I make myself sound like I'm old, but it's just I prefer set play. I think set plays I prefer it more. And then the last one is stance, and then we'll touch on Rekka. Um, Stance characters, I think you know, they're cool. They're really cool in theory. It's just the problem is like visually, I don't see it. Well, actually, that's a lie. You do see it visually. Like when someone's playing it, you can kind of see. But that because it's hard to put yourself in the position of if you didn't know the information on the character. I guess it's sometimes obvious when a character has stance. Yeah, I was trying to see like, does it change anything visually watching the game? I think it does. Do I prefer to play them? No, I'm not a big stance character guy. Um, I think it's a bit. Uh, it feels like Rekka, but it's different. It's completely different. But I think the issues are similar for me, where my preferences are. I need to do something to achieve something, and I know that is what set play kind of works to. But set play, I still have set play. I think of as like oh, I think actually it's she's the silhouette here, but I think of Jacko like I can still have fun even if I haven't set up as much as I would like to. Well, I feel like Stance and Rekka, which I'll explain right after this kind of like it's a necessity to do the thing you want to do, like to play the character. You have to go into step one. Like it's step one, step two. You have to do step one to do step two. And I think that feels limiting to me, so I don't like them as much. So stance, I'll actually put here, but it's very traditional. I think it makes sense to have that. It's actually probably very similar to counter, but it's more assertive. While counter is reactive. Yeah, so you know what? I'll keep it at B tier, but it's like low B for me. Okay, and then the last one is Rekka. It's not here unfortunately, but Rekka, to explain it is, it's the exact thing I was saying where it's like you have to do step one into step two, step three. It's all follow up stuff. So Rekkas will have very little moves, but they'll have very a very large amount of follow up. So like if you look at a Rekka, typically if you look at the moves, you won't see a lot of like different options, but you'll see like they're long. Like they have limited, like they'll probably have like maybe five options you could do, like five like special moves or like hits that you can do, and then like there'll be like instead of like the typical, oh, you can do hit, 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 do this motion, hit. It goes, you can do hit, hit, motion. You can hit one of these three buttons, and then it looks like a family tree, basically, is what I would say a Rekka moveset looks like. So that's a Rekka character for you. They're very interesting. I think Rekka characters make the game feel very much like you're fighting. Like I think there's kind of an essence of like how fighting might work in real life, where you have this, you have very limited options in the beginning, but once you're able to land where you need to land, that's when you can actually like show what you're made of. Because realistically, when you're fighting, you're not going to do a lot of flashy stuff right off the bat, because when you're fighting, everyone's guarded and you have, you're waiting for people to make their move, right? Rekka kind of works on that mindset. It's a very cool way of implementing that into fighting games, I feel like. Whether it be accidental or on purpose, that's how I perceive it. And I think that makes it very interesting. So I probably put Rekkas in A tier. I don't like playing Rekkas at all, to be honest. But that's only because I don't have enough experience with them. Given there's a lot of cool characters that are Rekkas. Good examples are Angel. Actually, not even Angel. Kyo from King of Fighters. I was gonna say Fatal Fury. And King of Fighters actually has a few Rekka characters, but yeah, great example. Current one, Jamie from Street Fighter 6 is also a Rekka character. So, but yeah, they're very interesting. I would put them in A tier. Very, very cool. I feel bad for zoners now that I'm looking at it. I put Zoner way down here. I think it's not far off from my opinions, though. This video has already been very long, but I think I'll summarize on that one where it's like I'm noticing now, I'm thinking about it, most of the zoners that are in games, like the most classic one is probably Guile from Street Fighter. I just don't I can't play I can't play him. I guess Dalsum is he's a zoner. I can't play him either. I don't know. Like I like zoners in theory. I think I could play Axel though. I think I could enjoy Axel, but I could never main a zoner. Maybe not never. I don't know. I think all around, I enjoy all fighting game archetypes. I know that seems cliche. I do, but it has the character has to be cool enough, right? And I'm trying my hardest to avoid associating a character to the archetype. Just because a cool character is an archetype doesn't mean the archetype has to be my favorite. You know what I mean? Like there could be a lot of cool zoners, but do I like zoners as much as I like other things? I think in theory I like zoning a little bit, so maybe D is harsh, but I just don't find many zoners interesting, so I'm gonna put it there. Anyways, that was my list. Let me know down below how much you hated it and what would you change. And honestly, just put down below what your whole list would be if you want to. I enjoy, honestly, the comment section on my tier list videos the most. It's it's crazy to see how passionate you guys are on this stuff, but it's also really entertaining for me. So yeah, that is it. If you guys want to see more tier lists, like and subscribe. You don't even have to agree on it to like and subscribe. It just tells me tier lists still work. I'll put out more tier lists. I'm also putting out more tier lists on the second channel, but that's going to be more regular stuff opposed to like, video game, anime, whatever kind of thing. Like less, it's going to be more like normie things like, oh, which country flag looks the best or something. So if you want to look for more of like the cliche stuff instead of like the more targeted stuff, you can go over there and check that out. Right now we only have one, and by we I mean me, but I only have one out, but there'll be more as time goes on. But yeah, the next tier list, I have no idea what it's going to be, but I'll see you then. So hope you guys have a good one. Take care, peace, and goodbye.